Hi everyone, today I have a review of the Bandai Cinemarize Woody model kit. I have done a review on the Buzz model kit that they've done in the past, but these are essentially just very articulated figures, and they're kits that you build, and like they come with the little sheets of all the plastic pieces. You cut the pieces out and you build the actual kit from scratch. So yeah, this took me like 2 hours to build. So yeah, I'll start. So in terms of Woody and his rotations, you have ball joint rotation in the head, so you can kind of rotate it around, and you can turn it, but there's also, actual fully rotation. He has rotation in the arms, and not only that, but you can also actually move around his shoulder, so you can move it upwards and backwards. It's like a full 360, which is pretty cool to see. The elbow bends, again, of course, and then the hands do also have ball joints. Most of this is ball joints. The waist itself rotates, although you can't rotate it up and down, it's just kind of horizontal movement. The legs, or I should mention, the holster itself does rotate, which is good, because then that would have probably limited his right leg, his movement on his right leg significantly. But the legs can be rotated up and back, and again also a little bit forwards, which looks very unnatural, but considering he's a ragdoll, I guess it's pretty interesting. And then the feet, his little foot actually moves, which, I mean, isn't accurate, but it does provide better ways to actually rotate the foot itself in more dynamic ways, so you can actually have him like standing outwards a bit, kind of doing a battle ready pose, I guess, like that. And then in terms of the head, let me just remove his head straight up like that. Put his body off to the side. It's kind of terrifying. But his head, these are of course the ones with the three like replaceable heads. So you have this one, and there's actually more of a step to go through than with Buzz. You actually have to fully remove this hairpiece here first, which is only really accomplishable through fingernail or through blunt force, which is not recommended. And you just kind of pry it open like so, and then there is a bald Woody, and you essentially just rip his head off and put on a different face. So this is a determined look, and then you just place it on like that, and yeah, place the actual headpiece of the hairpiece back in the ways. It's just kind of being difficult. There we go. Like so. And you can rotate these eyeballs, however it's kind of difficult to do so, and this one is actually completely stationary. So I mean, you can rotate the eyes if you find it necessary, but I don't know, I don't really rotate them that much. I just kind of put them in a straightforward position and then leave them like so. And then the final head pose that he has is a frightened position. So it is basically the same as Buzz in terms of the variations in his face sculpt. I think I can show the eye rotations a bit better on this, yeah. So you can kind of rotate his eyes, although it is a bit frustrating. And despite them recommending you actually do them from the front, I'd actually rather just kind of rotate them from the back, since it's a bit more easy. Ooh, he is a bit crazy-eyed there. Gotta rotate his eye back into place. So yeah, it's just kind of very difficult to get his eyes back into position, but there you go. That's decent in terms of head, in terms of his eye positioning. And then you just place the hairpiece back on again, and I'll leave this on for the rest of the review. I'll place his head back on there. Now it is the same with Buzz with the stand, so I should mention the bottom of the feet you can put Andy or Bonnie on as a sticker. I put Andy on, obviously. And then there is a hole to fit the peg in, which I did actually have to remove a large chunk from. I don't know if it's hard to, because whenever I cut it out, it was like very hard to get it out of the actual stand. Speaking of which, you just essentially, the stand is filled with holes, and you just basically put them in the hole you desire, and there you go. There is your Woody in his stand, or on his stand, which he looks pretty good. And of course, you obviously are supposed to pose him in different ways. But I'm going to talk about the hands now. So unlike Buzz, who has 4 sets, or he has 2 sets of hands on Buzz, this Woody actually has 4. And so you have let me get it out of his arm. So you just essentially pull him off like that. So you have a thumbs up position for his hand, a pointing position for his hand, a more flat, movie accurate, standard Woody doll, like hands just spread out position, and a fist position. And essentially you just kind of and make sure you have them on the right hands. I think I actually have them on the wrong hands, but whatever. Yeah, so you essentially just put them in, and then you can rotate them kind of slightly. It kind of depends on the actual hand mold, depending whether or not they can actually rotate, but you can slightly move them around a bit, and you can obviously rotate them. But like, that is for more dynamic poses, so you can do different things. So there he's kind of a bit confused. The only issue I kind of have with this Woody, apart from the eyes, is the hat, which the hat is not really much to talk about with it. It's just kind of solid plastic, and there's not really much else to do with it. However, there is a peg underneath that's supposed to keep Woody's head on, like it's supposed to, so that it doesn't actually go like all the way down and cover his eyes or his eyebrows or whatever. However, just right out of the box, it's incredibly difficult to place on his head because it actually just kind of slides off really easily. And so I recommend actually putting a piece of sticky tack underneath, and then that way you can get a lot more, dynamic poses for his head. So that would normally be impossible. The hat would just fly off backwards. But with sticky tack on, you can kind of do what you want more with the hat, so you can kind of get more dynamic, odd, strange poses, and it's there's less of a chance of the hat flying off, which is good. But other than that, that is pretty much it for this Woody. I'd say he's probably better than Buzz, just I think strictly from poseability standpoint. And I think the only real inaccuracy he has is the actual, belt straps or whatever on his pants are brown instead of blue, and that's just because it's from one solid piece, and you can probably paint that over. But overall, it's a great figure. It's good for stop motion. It's good for display. I'd very much recommend him, considering he's usually on sale for like $30 or so. He's normally $40, but I've seen him on Amazon for as low as like $28. So he is absolutely worth picking up. I just recommend doing a little modification with the hat. But yeah, that's it for this Woody. Like, subscribe if you want, and I'll see you all later.